Welcome to Feel the Heat, a 5 Reasons Sports Network Miami Heat podcast. Hosted by Allana Tachauer and Michael Christian. This is your one-stop listen for all things Miami Heat culture, past, present, and future, on and off the court.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 12 of Feel the Heat. Michael is in an alarmingly good mood tonight, and I'm not really sure what to do with it. I'm going to go ahead and guess it has to do with Philly's epic collapse, but I'm just going to pass it to you and see if I'm right.
So watching Philly collapse the way they did is incredibly gratifying. But before we get into any of that, I'm gonna put this out there first before you do it, right? Just like step in front of it before it just like hits you. You know what I mean? Although stepping in front of it still hits you. It is what it is. You called Bucks in 7. You also called the Hawks to win their series. Both of those things happen. And before I give you my myriad of reasons as to why you got so lucky with those picks, I wanted to give you an actual set of kudos, a congratulations. Very nice job. You called it. I know you're going to dance on this, so go ahead. Dance now. Parade all the haters. Say what you got to say.
I feel like I'm going to fall out of my chair right now. Mr. Michael being nice to me so early in the pod too. But I mean, it is good that you got to it first because I was 100% going to bring this up. I did indeed call Bucks in 7. And last night, despite not being able to watch the game because I was having sushi with Alan for Father's Day, I called that the Hawks would win. So I'm just going to keep on rolling with my predictions. I know you call it luck, but there is rhyme and reason to my predictions, Michael.
Okay, sure. But the rhyme and reason was aided by the unfortunate demise of Kyrie Irving's health and a 30% James Harden.
Yes. However, when making my prediction, I took into account the fact that an injury, unfortunately, was likely given how the season was going. And also taking into account the fact that if Harden returned, which he did, he would not be at full strength, which he wasn't. So again, rhyme and reason.
Well, rhyme and reason lucked the hell out is what I will say. I am not saying that you are the reason why Kyrie Irving got hurt, but it seems like you kind of put that on him. So, wow, that's terrible.
You're going to have all of Heat Twitter coming after me more so than they already want to. I was not wishing injury upon anyone, and I actually enjoy watching Kyrie play, so I would not want to see him go down. But listen, they struggled with injuries all season long. I took that into account with my prediction. Do I also keep predicting what I want to happen? Yes, but that's what we call manifestation. And so I'm going to keep doing it.
And there's what I wanted to be said. There is the truth. Your predictions are not based on what you actually think is going to happen. Your predictions are based on what you want to happen.
Within limits, because I mean, if it were up to me, I wouldn't have given Philly any wins. So I could have just said in 4, but I didn't. Also, obviously, I would have preferred the Heat make it out of the first round.
Well, obviously not, because everything else you've manifested has actually happened. So I guess deep down inside, you actually wanted the Heat to lose.
If the Heat, then in 7. But I mean, I do pick the team that I want to win. I'm a little bit more calculated with how many games it'll take for them to get there.
Then speaking about that Bucks series, I know we're going to talk about the Sixers, but let's just wrap up that Bucks series. I think the Bucks got a little lucky. I never wish injury on anything. It's just when the Nets had Kyrie and KD, they were thrashing the Bucks to the point where on our own show, we started talking about, does this thrashing of the Bucks make the Heat look even worse? Mm-hmm. Right? So, I mean, it got bad. Things went down.
If you recall, however, on that episode, I said that the Bucks had ample time to turn things around, so I had not given up on them just yet.
Yeah, I hear you, and that's fine. You got it right. I gave you the kudos. Congratulations. You're gonna keep dancing on this forever.
Absolutely.
I
I
I
could use a
cannot
win.
I cannot wait to see what happens in free agency. I just think, I mean, even with all the things that happened, the Bucks were still inches from elimination on that KD shot. And one thing I'm really taking away from that series is KD is just on a whole other level. The Bucks do have a solid team, but I feel like this whole like all these teams left in the playoffs, this feels wacky as hell. Like it just feels off. And that's not just because the Bucks made it, but even with the Nets being down and eliminated and all the injuries that happened, it still felt like the Nets should have made it through. Putting aside your prediction, I mean, the Nets were looking like they were going to take that series early on. Then it kind of started falling apart. But then even at the end, it felt like nobody can stop KD, so they're going to win it. So I just like, what happened?
Honestly, this is why I just keep saying, and it really, I mean, it started with the fact that obviously the Heat had a weird season, but in general, this year, just nothing that anyone expects was happening. To your point, I dislike the Nets heavily, but no part of me thought they were going to get eliminated this early on, even though, I mean, they did make it to the second round, especially after KD looked like he did. So I completely agree. To be honest, and again, there's a little bias here. The only team that looks properly situated to me right now are the Suns, because all the rest of the teams, this is not what I would have expected.
I mean, I'll have to give the Bucks a little bit too, just a bit, because the Bucks have been, outside of those first two games against the Nets, where they look completely outmatched. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the rest of the NBA would have looked outmatched based on how the Nets were playing. The Bucks have been fairly consistent. They've been a really tough team. They've been playing hard. I think they've been fortunate with a lot of calls. And oh my Lord, if I see Chris Middleton flop one more time, I can't with him, right? He flops and then he looks up at the ref.
See,
And then
you have a problem with
ugh.
Chris. I have a problem with the fact that, and I listen, I love the guy, but Giannis travels on every single drive. Every single drive. That is not a Euro step. He's flat out traveling. He walks every time. It's killing me.
Sure, but Chris Middleton bothers me because Chris Middleton is the kind of player that I feel like should be playing for the Celtics. Like that whiny attitude after
But he's not a
everything.
dirty player, though.
No, I wouldn't say all the Celtics are dirty.
I feel like that's ingrained in their blood. Like you have to play dirty.
KG felt like a slightly dirty player, right?
Slightly, he takes king of Celtics dirtiness.
Okay, fine, I'm Celtics, but like currently Celtics, I think outside of Marcus Smart, I don't really see dirty play.
I mean, I think Tatum's sweetness kind of balances it out, and Jaylen Brown's a good kid too.
Oh, that Jaylen Brown, it's the Jaylen Brown dancing in the rain video or something like that? Doesn't he have something like that? Have you not seen it?
I don't know. No, I don't
Oh,
really.
I think it was him. Oh my gosh, I lost. I couldn't after I saw that whole thing. Chris Middleton whines every 5 seconds, and that to me feels very Celtic, right? It's like every time you play the Celtics and then they go up for a layup and they scream even though no one's around them. Like it could be a fast break. They go for the layup and they scream and one, just because someone blew on them from the stands, and it's just, oh my gosh, someone fouled me. Like I can't with that, right? That whiny attitude, that kind of flopping soft play, I can't do it. Oh, it sends me. But like we said, this Bucks Nets series felt unexpected because we felt like the Nets would be going further. The Sixers Hawks series also feels unexpected because I don't think either of us genuinely thought going into the playoffs. Oh, okay, you're nodding your head. You thought going into the playoffs that the Hawks would be going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I wanted Hawks Suns. I've said this for
I
a
don't.
hot minute.
No. I stop. No one. It's not about what you want. It's what
No,
you
it is.
think was going to happen.
No. What I want is what I think is going to happen because I'm manifesting that's what I'm going to get. You see how this works?
You're just so blinded. Just absolutely blinded. You really thought going into the playoffs, the Hawks look like the favorites to make it into the finals.
Here's what I'll say. It was less about me thinking that about the Hawks and more so me knowing that the Sixers are dumpster fire and having no faith in them moving on.
Sure, and that's what I was going to say. What's not unexpected about that series is the Sixers playing like trash, because the Sixers, well, they are said trash. The Hawks winning feels unexpected because it doesn't feel like that was the team that was going to make it to these conference finals. But I will say this, and I will go back on it. The Heat looked horrendous in that first round series. That just is what it is. They're going to move on. They're going to get better. But I will stand by this. The Heat sneak into that 5 seed. I think this team could be Eastern Conference Finals bound. Even as currently constructed. And that's more so a matter of the matchups. They faced a Bucks team that was primed to beat them. A Bucks team that felt like the underdog, even though they weren't. A Bucks team that was incredibly healthy and was just ready for the fight. The Knicks would not have been ready for that fight. The Sixers, like we said, are garbage. And I think the Heat have their number because they know what they have to do. So I feel like the Hawks also got fortunate with some of the seeding. And again,
I'll agree with that.
I mean, you're talking about a team with a point guard that passes up open layups because he can't hit a free throw to save his life. Ben Simmons feels broken. Like I don't know what to do with him at this point. If he has any trade value, it feels super low.
What really frustrates me with Ben Simmons is that I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares at all. I don't think he's
skipping the Olympics to work on his jump shot. You didn't see that?
Sure. Yes, exactly. His publicist put out a nice little statement on his behalf that he probably didn't even know was happening. Ben Simmons to me feels like a guy who thinks that I knows he's better than what everyone is saying and that has made it into the league, and that's good enough for him. I don't get it. We joked about Heat fans being embarrassed about Miami. If I were a Philly fan right now, I would be peak humiliated to have Ben Simmons on my team.
I mean, the Sixers could have made it all the way to winning a championship with the biggest threat they faced being Giannis. And Giannis is a good player. I'm not taking that away from him. But to make it through the East the way they would have made it through the East if they did make it all the way to the finals, I mean, the Lakers got eliminated. The Heat got eliminated, and I understand the Heat didn't play that great. But again, the Heat and the Sixers, I just feel like we have their number. The Nets got eliminated, which was the actual favorite coming out of the East. It all was kind of working out perfectly for this number 1 seed. On top of the fact that Ben Simmons couldn't do anything, Doc Rivers is a bad coach. We've said that on here a while ago. I don't know what the Sixers do from here because I am not scared of them in the slightest. Are they going to win regular season games? Yes. Are they going to be a top 3 seed in the East? Yes, because they're going to do enough to get that. But a 7-game series against the Sixers does not scare me at any point, even with the Heat as currently constructed. And there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to get better. So the East now, it looks kind of up for grabs. Granted, the Nets are going to get healthy. And it looks like those 3 know how to play each other, even without a lot of time, which is frightening. If the Heat can figure out a way to keep up with the Bucks, and the only reason why I said is because, yes, the Heat beat them, but that was 2 years ago. The East is more winnable for the Miami Heat than I would have thought probably 5-6 weeks ago. After what I've seen in these playoffs.
And I think with the Nets in particular, they really need to start thinking about kind of role players to work alongside those 3. Not only because obviously at the end of the day, you need a full squad, but let's be honest, those 3 are a little bit injury prone at this point. And I'm not saying that I want anything to happen again, but you need to kind of keep that in mind, I think, moving forward. So it'll be interesting to see if they make any changes. And we'll get to one player who will not be probably resigning there a little bit later on. But I mean, to your question about what Philly's going to do, they have to get rid of Ben Simmons yesterday.
Is that you saying come down to Miami because you want him?
Absolutely not.
Well, you told me before we started, you said, like, honestly, the number 1 thing that I think could fix the Heat right now is if they go out and get Ben Simmons because he's my favorite player.
None of our listeners would ever believe you on that.
That's exactly what you said. If you want to lie about it now, that's fine.
Absolutely not.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. Allana loves Ben Simmons. On the other side of the bracket, Western Conference, the Suns take game 1. You are an avid Suns fan now. I mean, I think you should probably run.
I love this team. I cannot tell you the joy I get watching this team, like even all of their off the court antics, I am all in for the Phoenix Suns right now.
I just want to make sure next year, who are you a fan of when the season starts up? I just want to make sure I'm
the Miami Heat, with the Suns being my Western team.
You see, but that's not.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's different levels, right?
Oh, absolutely. Heat up here, and then Suns have the only one Western slot, like somewhere over here.
Right.
My hands are very far apart. So
right. That's what I was going to say.
Me.
Because through this audio medium that we have, which is a podcast, everybody's looking at where your hands are on the screen.
They know what up here and down here mean. It's a far gap.
Sure, because you said it was, but you didn't before. I'm just throwing that out there. The Suns look capable. The Suns
capable.
I think if Kawhi
Michael thinks the Suns are capable, y'all.
Can
we get that on a t-shirt? Can someone send me a t-shirt that says they look capable?
Okay, well, don't say that, because some Suns fan is gonna come out of like my dumpster probably and start beating me up, because that's what the Suns fans do now. They just fight people.
After you beat him up, can I get some merch? They look capable.
Are you talking to said Suns fan?
Yes.
I just want to make sure that everybody understands that it's now becoming a thing that Suns fans are beating people up, and it was okay. And then the Suns account had to tweet out a statement saying, "Hey, let's keep it classy and not punch people."
Classy move on the organization's part.
Right after the other fan who punched someone and said Suns in 4 got merch and tickets. Why are you so quiet?
Anyway, the Suns are looking great. I think they're going to win it all. You heard it. Well, you didn't hear it here first because I've been tweeting about it for some time. But audio-wise, I think this might be the first time I've said this. Suns are taking it all. Chris Paul is a big question mark, however. Do you have any gut feelings on his return? Because last time I checked, he had not had any symptoms. And I think he's no longer testing positive. So that makes me feel like he might be back for game 3, perhaps.
Yeah, probably a game 3 return. And I texted you about this before. I hope that nothing else happens to that guy. But I feel like there is no player that I can think of in these past like 20 years that has been more unlucky in the playoffs than Chris Paul. Just the absolute worst luck. His own health, his teammates' health, unfortunate situations with calls at the end of game 7s and that kind of stuff. Look,
but this is his one thing in this series. He's gotten it out of the way.
Right. But if it's one every series and they make it to the finals, I don't want to see anything else happen in the finals. All I'm saying is, look, James Jones wins Executive of the Year. Good for him. Former Heat guy. Happy for him. Jay Crowder, 1 season with the Heat, probably one of the most impactful single season contributions
Jay's the man.
Had. Jay's fantastic. Love that guy. I'm happy for them. If the Suns win, I am happiest for Chris Paul.
Agreed.
Just because I want him to just get his ring. I want people to lay off of him for it. I want him to be healthy and actually be up on that podium, raising it, because he just finished playing the game. Like, that would be great for him. I wanted the guys that I liked on the Nets. That's out the window. Giannis and Chris.
Michael, you're giving me the warm and tinglies.
Warm and tinglies. I don't want to give people that. No, I think Chris Paul deserves one. He's been through a lot. He's also a bit of a whiner. Let's be honest. He's also not the cleanest player.
Michael, I feel like if you were a player, you would whine with every call.
No. Not okay.
I'm gonna stand by
my
this
issue
take.
is my issue is this. When they like slap at the ball and they obviously hit their like forearm, and then they go to the ref and complain and say, "What?"
That would be you.
No shot.
Yeah, I feel like you'd play this like innocent.
No, when I played
basketball,
I pushed people
and
I wanted them
footage?
to. I pushed them.
Can we get some footage of you
No, I
playing
went
basketball?
to a small private school where I can go film myself shooting hoops.
Can I
gym.
contact said school? I'm a sweet talker. I feel like I could get this footage.
They have zero footage. Zero.
You don't know. I'm gonna try.
Do you want to know what the tallest player on my basketball team was when I was in 12th grade? He was 6'2". The tallest guy on our team. 6'2". That's what?
Like, a few inches away from the center.
Oh, by a few, do you mean 9?
Give or take.
Or 8, because Bam is what? 6'10", 6'11". We call him an undersized center. Oh, but 6'2" a few inches away
I think
from
Bam's
a center.
6'9".
Oh, okay, cool. So 7 inches away from undersized
Mhm.
center for the NBA. No,
Don't
my
worry,
school is terrible.
I'm gonna get my
But
hands on this footage
no,
because
hold
the
on. I stand
listeners
by
want
this.
it.
I don't think I wouldn't complain because when I got upset and I pushed people, I wanted them to know I pushed them. I wanted it to be known. Like if I fouled them, I looked at them and I was like, okay, we good? And
Oh,
then
so
I
you're a
kept
tough
playing.
guy.
No, I would just get upset, right? Like if I felt like they were trying to like punk me, I'm like, okay, well,
Mhm.
this is what we're doing.
See, if I were in the league, I would lead the league in technicals and ejections. I would get into so many fights that it would be record breaking.
So you would be the NBA's Draymond Green. That's what we're saying. Ooh, or
But like
DeMarcus
more
Cousins.
likable, and I wouldn't look like I was shooting with a backpack on.
More likable than Draymond Green.
Mm-hmm.
As many technicals and ejections as a DeMarcus Cousins.
Probably more because I would fight all the time. I go from 0 to 600.
0 to 600.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious. Like you could have gone with 500
No,
or 7,
6.
maybe like 1,000. You went to 600.
6 just felt right.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna push people around and be like, okay, cool, we're good. And then you're gonna get ejected from the game.
Yes.
Okay. Should we play a basketball game? Should we like invite people and like get together and then
I would
get
really
tossed out
like
of the
to
game?
do that actually. Yeah.
Actually, you'd probably get tossed out of the game because I would push you.
Oh, I'd mess you up so tough. I'm scrappy.
Are we getting into a fight now? Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know, Michael. This is probably our most off the rails episode, and that's saying a lot.
Sure, let's say that. Let's get back on topic. How do we get back on topic? I had
well,
a segue.
actually, you brought up Bam,
Yeah.
so now is the perfect time to talk about Bam because he had an exciting announcement today. If you'd like to lead us into that,
Did have an exciting announcement today. Bam is going to go get himself a gold medal at the Tokyo Olympics.
We love it.
I'm excited for Bam to go. I see the reasons why people wouldn't want him to go, which is had a really shortened offseason before. Could probably use some time to rest up and focus on his game. At the same time, there's a ton of reasons for him to go. He can become friendly with some of these other guys there, possibly recruit. I mean, honestly, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make because I've seen it brought up and people said, well, people talk about when the big three got together and, Dwayne and all them, they kind of recruited at the Olympics. Short. That was a whole different thing, in my opinion. Right? That was like a close group of friends that were super tight knit on and off the court. I don't think it's the same kind of brotherhood with these guys. What I'm most excited about is him going out there and working on his game against other countries that I think are not going to be as strong as a lot of NBA players. And it'll give him an opportunity to become more aggressive offensively. So I'm excited to watch those games just to watch Bam on offense and see how that goes. Because offensively, I know what I've got. But I'm happy with him going. What do you think?
My gut reaction when the news first dropped was that, he needs the rest. And if there was ever a time to rest, it would be this summer. But I did get a few people kind of, tweeting back at me and saying kind of what you said about the fact that it gives him a chance to work on his game. So I don't know how much I buy into the recruiting part of it either. I don't really see Bam as that kind of guy. I don't think he's necessarily outgoing enough. I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I think a lot of his kind of shortcomings on the court in terms of being aggressive are somewhat just due to his personality, which is not a knock on the guy. I've met him a few times. I think he's great. I just don't see him being the type to go out there and like start this agenda. If it comes about naturally, I could definitely see him, smooth talking them to the point of just talking about the team and the direction and how great Jimmy is. But I don't think his purpose of being there is to try and recruit. And I think to your point, it having happened earlier, it was a different time. It was a different group of guys. So for that to be the main purpose of him going there, I don't really buy that. But I mean, if that's what comes out of it, great.
Like also that those US teams were fighting for something, right? Like you had the dream team, then you had a decent team after that. And then it kind of went south and things didn't go well for the US. So that team not only was trying to win games already, but they were bonded because it was like, okay, we've got to show why USA basketball is the best, right? Back when it was LeBron and Wade and Kobe and all that stuff. And Wade was the best player in those Olympics. Anybody who says otherwise is crazy. Bald Wade was killing it. That was a different team. And so that's what I'm saying. It's different, not only because those guys were friends, but that team just had a different feel to it. I will disagree with you on one thing, though. Bam isn't an extrovert. Sure, he's not super outgoing like that. I think Bam is super likable. And I think a lot of guys from the league.
Absolutely. I didn't mean it like that. What I kind of meant was the aggression on the court that doesn't necessarily show through, I think, is the same in terms of his personality. Whereas I don't see Bam going and making this decision to kind of be like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to, go after X, Y, and Z player. I think if he forms organic connections that way, I think, like I said, he would 100% talk up the organization and talk about his time with Jimmy and that they're trying to win now for him. I just don't see him as the type of guy to kind of make an agenda and try and go just for that.
Right. I don't think that's what it is. I think when I say that stuff, I don't think any of these players. So, okay, the two big guys there that people would be talking about, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, both will be on the roster at the Olympics with Bam. Will they like Bam? 100%. I wouldn't doubt
There's
that for
no
a
one
second.
that would not like Bam.
Bradley Beal already likes Bam, and Bam already likes Brad. That's already a thing. What I'm saying is I don't think that Brad or Damian Lillard would decide, hey, you know what? Miami is the place for me because I just played in the Olympics with Bam, and that's what I'm saying is the connection I don't really see. Do I think if Bam shows out, if Bam plays great, do I think that they're going to see him a bit differently as a player? Sure.
Yeah.
But that would be a stretch to be like, oh, that's why they joined the team. That right there, there's going to be a lot more. And they know as good as Bam is, this is Jimmy's team. This stuff runs through Jimmy. So there's a lot of things that have to go into place. With Bam being on that roster, though, here's a question I want to ask. Is Bam in the starting five at the Olympics?
Who else is
currently? And I don't know how updated this is. This was 6 hours ago. This came out. Damian Lillard, Draymond Green, Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, if they're not in the finals, which seems unlikely.
They will be.
Kevin Durant, Bam, and James Harden. That's who's currently on the roster.
I don't... And this could be off because I admittedly have not watched that much Team USA basketball. I feel like that would be the time where guys would be changed up, like lineups would be rotated a little bit more depending on who they play. So I could definitely see him getting some starting time. I don't really see why they wouldn't necessarily, unless it was, again, a matchup situation.
Right. I think the one thing that Bam does offer is kind of, he is going to have the size. Currently, he would be, I think, the second tallest player on the roster behind Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant doesn't play center. Bam is going to give you a bit more of that inside presence.
Bam also gives you some youth, which is nice.
He gives some youth. And I think Bam, if I'm looking at that roster properly, Bam is, second best defensive player there. And I don't say second best because Draymond was killing it this past year defensively. So I'm going to have to give it to Draymond. I think Bam in the starting lineup makes sense, but I think it's going to come down to him or Draymond. Do they want to play smaller or not? Greg Popovich is the coach. Papa's the one that cut Bam last year, and then Bam
that's right,
wrecked the Spurs. Not last year. I think it was a little while before that. But Bam is the one that wrecked the Spurs after that. Maybe he decides, you know what, I'm going to start this guy because of what I did. Let's just predict. Does he start? Yes or no? I say he does. I'm
going with yes.
I say
too.
Bam. Okay.
Sure.
Bam starting lineup. I'm watching all of those games then.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't even know what time of day they're going to start.
Don't care.
That's
there.
all over the place. Yeah, of course you're going to be there. There's no other basketball going on. What are you going to do?
I know that's the thing.
Like just no NBA basketball, just Olympic basketball. And are you going to watch other countries or just US?
I usually watch other countries too if I'm fully dedicated. I think to your point with no hoops, I need something to tide me over. So it's as good as anything.
Favorite Olympic category of event, right? Do you like the track days, swimming days, gymnastics, They do a bunch of other random stuff that I can't
So
really think of.
I'm Romanian. Gymnastics kind of in our blood. My family has been obsessed with gymnastics since I was little. No person loves gymnastics more than Alessandra. Figure skating is a close second for her, but gymnastics is bread and butter. So yeah, I have to go with that.
You see, I watch gymnastics because the U.S. dominates, and I'm all in on anything that the U.S. is
Romania's
dominating.
team used to be the dream, though. When I was
Yeah,
growing up, they were the girls to beat.
Yeah, well, the U.S. said no more of that. It's us now. I love the track and field stuff, though. Not just running, like when they're in the middle, like the shot put and then the javelin throws. When they do the decathlon, it blows my mind. I'm like, how one person figures out a way to do all this stuff over the course of a week. Wild.
Now that you say it, I don't think there's an event I don't enjoy. Like if it wasn't the Olympics, I wouldn't watch it necessarily, but in the Olympics, I don't think there's anything I don't love.
I don't think there is figure skating in this one because this isn't Winter
No,
Olympics.
they have winter, yeah.
I think figure skating would be one that personally I wouldn't watch. I think
really, I think it's just because I grew up in it. Like I said, my mom is obsessed. She watches all the qualifiers. She's just like all in.
I don't think there's anything I dislike. I think I got into swimming because of Michael Phelps. There's some stuff that's changing. I mean, they're changing up the Olympics a decent amount. So we'll see how it happens. And I'm really curious to see how it all goes down with them having to reschedule it. And I don't think Japan is as open as everywhere else. So we're going to have to see how it goes. All I know is, to me, the number one things are, I want to see the women's U.S. gymnastics team get that gold again.
Yep.
I mean, Simone Biles is just queen. And then I want to see Bam get that gold medal. And I want to see him have a strong impact. I want to see him show out and be like, this is why people see me the way that they do. And I don't need it to be
season, baby.
all of the games. I just want to start seeing the flashes. Give me those flashes where I'm like, okay, you started showing it out here. Go work on it a bit more in the rest of the offseason. Come back next season and crush them. That's what I want to see. Now, I'm excited that we get to see more Bam before next October, which is a long way out.
In heart.
So sad. We talk about center. One center that I think would have been nice on Team USA, because I'm starting to come around this person only because you hate them.
I really do. Really do.
Jojo Embiid.
There's nothing to like about him. I just don't get it. He's one of the most dislikable NBA players. Probably top 5 in the last decade, easy. Like, what is there to like about him?
I like his chemistry with Jimmy. It's there and you cannot deny it.
That's not a trait.
Yes, it is.
That's you liking a relationship between two people. What about him standing alone?
Name me the amount of people that get along with Jimmy the way Joel Embiid does. It's a handful.
Wade.
Sure, let's sign him up for the team. I'm talking about current NBA players. Okay, he's busy with the cube.
First of all, the sample size that you have seen Jimmy get along with or interact with is quite small.
Well, the sample size that we've seen him not get along with is quite large.
So because Joel has good chemistry with Jimmy, you like him. Like, that's not an explanation to me.
I mean,
what about him as a single entity do you enjoy?
The fact that you hate him, that's really a lot of it.
Basically, you have no actual reason to like him.
I mean, come on. Hold on. Joel Embiid is a good basketball player. You can admit that.
I didn't say that.
You can admit that.
Sure, I didn't say that. He is very dislikable.
Would be useful on this team. I will never.
I do not want him on the team.
I will never root for him unless he was on the Miami Heat. But if none of the other things pan out the way you and I...
You're not answering my question. What do you like about Joel Embiid? Not that he's a good basketball player and not that he could be useful in the Heat. What do you like about him?
I don't... What else do I care about?
No. Let's see.
No.
You cannot answer the question.
Why do I have to like someone off the court to like what they do on the court?
What do you like besides his skill? What do you like? Do you enjoy watching him? Because he puts me to sleep. I
think he takes a really good amount of ownership in what happens. I think he takes a hell of a lot of ownership. Allana's
now dead on the ground, folks.
You remember when when the Heat were playing in the first round?
Joel
and you
Embiid is
got,
an overgrown
no.
child.
Time out. And you got upset because you said, man, I just feel like certain players aren't really owning up to what's happening. I want
Yes,
them to
but
come
I
out.
don't think Embiid does either. Did
Yes,
you
he does.
see his post about I've done everything for the organization. I was playing hurt. It's all he does is
He
dish
is
out
hurt.
excuses.
He is hurt.
Everyone knows that, bro. You don't need to tell the world. We all freaking know anyway. I can't stand him. I literally,
Man, you draw a line in the sand and then it's over. Okay, so this is, look, it's fine. I don't think he's ever going to become a member of the Heat. But I'm asking you this genuinely now. Joel Embiid wears a Heat 21 jersey. You're just done. You're just not with it.
I think the Phoenix Suns are looking for a podcast to go start about them.
I mean, they'll probably beat you up first, but sure.
I'm a tough cookie.
Oh, I want to see you take on Suns and 4 guy.
My hand's already wrapped. We're ready for battle.
You're not that guy, okay?
You don't know me on the streets of the south side of Chicago.
Wow, you almost went into the Chicago too. Like you almost gave the accent. Can you do a Chicago accent?
I have a baby one because every time I travel somewhere, everyone's first guess is Chicago. I just don't hear it myself.
Well, isn't that because when you travel, you wear a hoodie that says Chicago on it?
Oh yeah, that's me. I'm that girl.
Isn't that how you
I'm
travel?
that tourist. Absolutely not.
You wear the hoodie of the city you're from. It's like if I started wearing Orlando t-shirts in other places.
I don't even own anything Chicago. No gear.
Okay, so fine. Embiid is a no-go, right?
No go.
Spencer Dinwiddie.
A yes, please. All the way.
At that dollar amount?
I love Spencer Dinwiddie. Let me tell you a story about Spencer Dinwiddie.
Oh my gosh, did he post something on Instagram that you loved one time?
Spencer Dinwiddie was on the Chicago Bulls and no one really knew about him. So I decided, why not write a nice little feature story featuring our newest guy.
Did you write this story from the bushes while he was playing?
He retweeted it. And in that moment, I was like, you know what? You're giving me props. I'm going to ride with you till the wheels fall off. So he's the only member besides Tyler Johnson of the Nets that I mess with. I would love Spencer Dinwiddie. That guy grinds. He's also hilarious on Twitter.
This is astounding. So your entire rubric for liking or disliking players is completely swayed by anything like a tweet interaction.
Oh no. If Embiid liked my tweet, I would literally be like, please get out of my mentions. Absolutely not. I'm just saying that was the start of my appreciation. First of all, I already appreciated him because I wouldn't have picked him to do a feature on. But the fact that he gave me props, I was like, okay, I'm riding with you. And here we are. You can't tell me that you wouldn't want Dinwiddie on the Heat.
No, I think Dinwiddie works on the Heat. I don't know what dollar amount that's going to come in at. And is Dinwiddie super high up on my list? Not necessarily. I'd rather have Kyle Lowry than Spencer Dinwiddie.
I don't think it has to be an either or.
I mean, I think it should be, personally. I think that's a lot of guards at that point. And again,
well, but then that depends on who we're getting rid of.
Right,
it depends on a lot of things, of course.
Right.
But
would I take both if they have other plans to address rebounding and that kind of stuff? Sure. Yes, absolutely. I would be curious to see how it all works out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. With Dinwiddie, I'm just kind of like, fine. I'm whatever. He's on the list. He's not at the top of my list. The one that everybody has been talking about, though, that has jumped up to the top of the list for a lot of people, Brandon Ingram. I think Brandon Ingram is a good player. I don't know how Brandon Ingram would do in a Miami Heat system. Again, it's a very different way of playing. It's not going to be the same, like, here, just take the ball, do whatever you want. The Miami Heat have only ever done that twice, and that was Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. That's it. They don't really ever do that. You buy into the system, you do that. I'm not saying that Brandon Ingram can't or won't buy into the system. The only other place I've ever seen him was in LA. It didn't work out well there. I'm sure there was a lot of external factors, but in New Orleans, it's different, right? There's not really that pressure. There's not the expectations. It's just New Orleans, right? Like, just go ball out, try to get your next contract somewhere else.
See, I almost feel like that could be what he needs, is a little bit of the discipline and the accountability there. admittingly have not watched a lot of Pelicans ball lately, but I don't know. The system seems a little bit willy-nilly, and I think a guy like him needs to be molded a little bit more. I think it obviously depends what we'd have to give up, but I do know that he's not necessarily thrilled there from what I hear. And again, the Zion situation is up in the air too. But I could see it being an interesting fit.
That's what I'm saying. And here's where I'm going to just make a claim on all of these guys, because I feel like the list keeps growing and it's never, ever going to stop. It feels like at this point. If the Miami Heat decide to trade for a guy, I'm going to trust this organization. And I'm going to think this is probably a good move for these reasons. I'm going to stick with that until I'm proven wrong. I'm never going to think, well, I think this guy won't fit, so that's that. Even if I don't like the guy personally. If the Miami Heat decided to trade for Chris Middleton, I would not be excited about it. But I would trust the team and I would see where it goes. That's where it comes down to, we're throwing out a bunch of names that the Heat are probably never, ever going to get. Mm-hmm. Again, the jersey swaps are every single day. I just want to see what is it that we're looking for. And I don't think right now anybody outside of that inner circle knows, because there's been interest in Drummond. There's been interest in Damian Lillard. There's been interest in Kyle Lowry. I'm sure if Chris Paul hits the open market and is wanting to go to another team, I'm sure there's going to be interest there as well. I don't know what they're going to try to hone in on. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what they want. I'm just going to trust whatever that is. And at this point, I'll just dissect it when it happens. That's just how I feel about it. In Riley, we trust. Your future, what was it? Rose partner? Rose. Which, okay, that's another thing. Like, you think Riley's a rose guy?
In the summer, yes.
Oh, in the summer. It's a summer thing?
Yeah, rose is a nice summer drink. A light, refreshing glass of wine.
I'll take your word for it. I have no idea. So the only thing I know about rose, the only thing I know about rosés comes from like movies and TV where they like take the red one and the white one and then they mix in, they're like rosé. That's all.
Yeah, just like that. You just pour red, white in a glass and boom, it's rosé right in front of you.
Well, they mix it before and they put it in its own bottle. Is that not how it works?
It's a little bit more complicated than that. Do I have to send you a bottle for you to try? We should try together.
Does Wade Sellers do a rosé? Because if they
I think they just released one and I was just about to say that.
Because I was going to say that's the only way that Riley would ever have that is if Wade Sellers did it.
Oh, so I'm choosing Wade rosé. That's even better. This is adding to my narrative. Michael, just let it happen. Literally, I'll invite you along. Don't feel left out.
I don't think you would. And you wouldn't want me to come along. Because if I did, because if you did, then I would do everything in my power to make sure that Riley liked me more than you.
That's impossible.
Okay, now I want this to happen just to like show you up.
I've
Pat Riley walk away and be like, this Michael guy was a great time. All right, see you later, Allana.
No, he's a Pisces. We get along. I've done my digging. Actually, fun fact, he has the same birthday as my ex-boyfriend. So
that was something. You really.
I just wanted to put that out
we
there.
have one more topic and it was your topic. You want to bring it up before we get too deep into
this is just, I just wanted to mention this. I am so excited for Big Face Coffee. Like, I just want this to fully launch whatever he is launching. Jimmy posted about it. Michael, did you happen to see the post or was there a reason that you didn't?
No, I did see the post. Oh, Jimmy put it up on Instagram. Yeah, I saw the post.
You did. Do you follow Jimmy on Instagram, Michael?
I do, actually. If you go to my Instagram, you can see that I follow. We talked
about it earlier. Michael wasn't following Jimmy Butler on Instagram prior to this episode, ladies.
If I wasn't following Jimmy Butler, then you said you wanted the Heat to trade for Ben Simmons.
But one's a lie and one's real.
No, they're both the same, whatever
anyway,
they are.
Jimmy Butler has posted that he is working on Big Face Coffee ideas and research, and you now can go to his site and sign up for like a launch email to come through when things drop. So I hope that's this off season because I am patiently waiting.
For the coffee or the merch?
It doesn't matter. Anything he decides to launch, I will buy immediately without any sort of question.
Tie-dye t-shirt, Jimmy Butler's face on it.
Sure. Anything, whatever yes. I actually have a Big Face Coffee mug and sweatshirt that they were selling, I think in Orlando. Actually, someone sent it to me. Obviously it's not the official merch because that's not there, but I think like in terms of the bubble and whatever, so I have that already, but I need his official stuff.
And you see, I'm sure I'll never interact with Jimmy Butler, but if I did, I would send him this audio clip and have him make the most outrageous single piece of merchandise just to give it to you and force you to wear it in public.
Line for it.
And I hope like it's not like this outrageous, like the shirt has a bunch of cuss words. Love and it. Like Joel Embiid's face on the back because they're good best friends.
Love it.
Like you wear it.
If it was from Jimmy Butler's merch, yes. His official merch that he drops.
Gosh, I hope I can meet Jimmy one day just to bring up this audio clip. That would absolutely make my night. But until then, I look forward to my nights being made by Bam Adebayo absolutely destroying whoever the international competition is. I don't see any country that should give the U.S. a hard time. And the way it is with U.S. basketball is you expect gold. Anything else is not good enough. It's just not good enough. So Bam, go get that gold. Until then, we will be back next week with another episode. What will we talk about? I don't know. We'll see what Heat Twitter talks about in the next week. Maybe somebody else will be unhappy with their team and we'll do some more jersey swaps. Until then, Allana, would you like to say goodbye to the people?
Good night, y'all. Go Suns.
Thanks for listening to Feel the Heat. Can't get enough of your hosts? Follow Allana at Allana Tachauer, Tachauer, and Michael at Michael5RSN on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe.